at the same time that the British were attacking Charleston, the Cherokees were on the warpath. Now,
which is what you were mentioning before of what was going on.
Well, this is much more serious than what was going on before, much more serious. Now, the question is, did the British foment this uprising to undertake a two-front campaign in South Carolina with the Navy on the coast and the Cherokees in the backcountry with the divided South Carolina resources? And the Patriot leaders felt for sure that John Stewart, the Indian agent, and his assistant, Alexander Cameron, were fomenting that uprising. Now, there's some evidence that they actually counseled against the Cherokees going on the warpath because they knew what was going to happen.
It's, again, who they talked to versus others, right? It just wasn't a great, strong chain of command.
It wasn't.
Point is, Cherokee rose up.
And the Shawnees came down, and they definitely counseled the Cherokees that everybody was going to go on the warpath at the same time. So there were 61 settlers killed along the Cherokee territory. And the Cherokee territory at this time was Greenville, Anderson, Pickens, and Oconee counties. There were 16 lower town Cherokee towns, with the capital being at Keowee. The closest town to the border was Seneca, which is basically at the Clemson campus. It's underwater now. And that was a staging ground for raids into the backcountry. And the other spot was Richard Parris's plantation at the falls of the Reedy River, which is in downtown Greenville right now. So
was Fort Prince George gone then? Was
yes.
that still? It was gone because of what happened 15 years before. So it was just the Cherokee.
Yeah, it was just the Cherokees.
Cherokee
right. So, again, and these 61 settlers were killed in a very gruesome fashion.
That's one thing that modern day folks have a hard time kind of absorbing. There was a ritualistic method of how Native Americans would kill their enemies.
Yes.
Because they saw the enemies not as flesh and blood as much as their soul, their energy, and to put them through horrible torture was a way to kill their soul. Right? Is that a generalization?
Well, I agree with that. But what I've sort of come to the conclusion was the Cherokees did not put up no trespassing signs on their borders.
Right.
What gave them security was an overwhelming, overriding sense of fear from their enemies. If you were a Catawba, it was considered that the Broad River was the border between the Catawbas and the Cherokees. If you were a Catawba, there's no way you wanted to go over that Broad River and subject yourself to what could be the most gruesome death possible. It was that fear that the Cherokees engendered. Now, if there's any, Cherokees, communal life, total freedom, sometimes you'd have to admire the way they live, not others. But one trait that the Cherokees had, which I have disagreement with, and to the European mind, we can't accept this, they did not believe in the power of mercy. If you showed mercy toward your enemy, that was a weakness that you had. Mm-hmm. So they avoided mercy. Now, the beloved woman of each of the 7 clans, if she thought that this fellow who was getting gruesomely tortured to death possibly could make a suitable husband for one of her maidens, she did have the power of life and death.
Now, who is the beloved woman?
Every clan had a senior matriarch, and this was a matriarchal system.
Right, traders would buy into the Indian community by marrying,
yes,
because hereditary lines went through the women. The clan lines went through the women.
Yes, and this is another way that it's a huge difference between the European mind and the Native American mind, fathers did not raise their children.
Mothers did.
Mothers did, and the mother's brothers, because they were in the same clan. Now, that doesn't mean that men did not raise children. They raised their sisters' children, and they taught their sisters' children how to hunt in the way of the clan, how to, go about your daily activities that reflected how things were done in that particular one of 7 clans.
So culturally, that's like
it's incredible.
That's like an alien system to Europeans,
right?
Which is another reason why you had such a clash of cultures on how to communicate and everything. But the way the way some of these people died by taking days to burn alive, and it was just really horrible.
It was horrible,
and which is why. When people like Pickens and they went up and burned all the villages, which is what happened.
Yeah.
It's why they showed no mercy, because they felt like no mercy had ever been shown to them and to their people.
You're talking about the Cherokees showing no mercy, or Pickens? Pickens didn't show mercy.
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, the backcountry settlers, and the Scotch-Irish especially, who had lived a life of warfare and clannish relationships, just would go and wipe out villages.
Well, see, that's what happened. The first Cherokee War basically lasted 3 years. The second Cherokee War lasted 3 months, because at this point the settlers had realized what it's going to take to quell the Cherokee depredations.
Right.
And what it was going to take was total annihilation. And that's what happened. They totally destroyed those 16 Cherokee towns. They trampled all the crops down. They chopped down all the orchards. They shot all the cows and pigs on sight. They shot the men, women, and children on sight. There was 2,000 Cherokees killed in the Cherokee War of 1776.